into the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah. It's all about the entertainment, so I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night. It's the UkSimracers MX5 Season 2 2024 Round 9 Summer Season Live from Road Atlanta GP. We have changed over from the club circuit due to fears of incidents and accidents on the short circuit. So we have gone to the full GP layout. Okay, so that is a change that has taken place from the schedule. We've only got 4 rounds to go, including Road Atlanta tonight with Mugello, Oschersleben and Daytona NASCAR Road to finish off the season. Let's bring you up the scores and the doors at the moment in the pro scores. It is currently Dan Hunt out in front on 1,156 points with Jamie Ayres in second place there. He is leading the summer standings. Jamie Ayres on 971, Steve Evans on 900, then you got Jamie Wilson on 883. PVG in 5th on 817 and Ralph Cullen and Pete Newman behind that with Martin Sampson, Tom Griffiths and Dries Nice rounding off the top 10. In the AM standings currently at this moment in time, it's Ollie Ricks out in front on 835 with Darren McLean in second, 3 points ahead of Roger Morton. Then you've got Charles Kellerman, Colin Sampson, Darrell Wright, Fiona Siddons, Andy Littler, Steve Hansford and Alan Toon with Mick Barry the last of the point scorers. Let's see what that's done to the overall standings for the 2 seasons. And whoa, Fiona Siddons is not out in front with that many points. There is obviously my fat fingers may have had something to do with that one, as clearly she does not have 10,000 points more than anybody else. So bear with us on that. Give us 2 seconds. Right. Hopefully that should correct things. There we go. She definitely does not have that many points. Fiona Siddons has got 1,293 points here. So not sure why all of a sudden it's showing up as that many. Dan Hunt is in the lead currently on 2,673 with PVG in second, Jamie Wilson in third. Then you got Jamie Ayres in fourth with Ralph Cullinan in sixth, Tom Griffiths seventh, Pete Newman eighth, Steve Hefford ninth, Charles Kellerman is in 10th. Then Colin Sampson, Darrell Wright, Martin Sampson, Andy Littler, Darren McLean, Alan Toon, Steve Hansford and Miles Owens. Then moving on from Miles Owens, Ollie Ricks, Roger Morton, Mick Barry, John Sylvester and Ewan Bramer. And then behind that you've got Callum McPherson, Honor Chonier, Craig Jones, Dan Dennison, Dan Lewis and Dries Nice. Not too sure why on that one. I'm James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth as always by Tom Cairns for this evening for this 4 heat races here. And of course we've got the top 10 reverse there as well. What happens when an idiot's in charge of input data? Shut up, Mr. Jones, you absolute blinking mugwai on that one. But let's bring Tom into the booth. Tom, welcome in. How are you?
Good, thank you, James. Hope you can hear me fine, as do everyone. We are here in the States once more at Road Atlanta. We were using the full layout, of course. We were initially going to be using the club circuit, but due to difficulties we had with drivers being able to race through there, particularly in the rainy night conditions, we have resorted to using the full layout of the circuit. It's a 2.5 mile circuit, goes in a clockwise direction, 12 corners in total, and I think, well, I say 12 corners, it's more like 13 with the chicane towards the end of the lap. We are in for quite an action-packed a couple of hours, let's say, and I think the drivers are raring to go for qualifying for the start, James, wasting no time getting on with it because they know there are some points up for grabs here.
Yeah, definitely on that one. So there definitely is, as we've got some of these guys out on track at this moment in time. Not racing tonight. Sneezing in VR is not safe for anyone, especially Ralph. So thought I'd come and support Craig in abusing people. Thanks, Daryl. Please don't start on with him and allowing him, to have his own way in the YouTube chat there. Otherwise, he'll just be giving me grief all night after the mishap I just about had here. Road Atlanta, very interesting circuit. I've been here hundreds of times on comms as well. Now, obviously, in these little MX5s, you've got turn 1 is going to be one of the major flashpoints coming up into turn 2 and 3, which is here, if they get this all wrong, of course. Now, one of the other situations, and it's coming down through turn 5. This is a right, left, right, but then you've got the left at the bottom. Now, the curve on the outside of 5, we do talk about it a lot, and it can literally chew you up and spit you out there, Tom. You've got to take all of it. You cannot take half of it, otherwise it just all goes wrong.
Yeah, it's a bit like with Suzuka really with the S's. One corner you get wrong, the whole lap is essentially ruined, and the drivers will just want to get as much mileage as possible. They will have done during the practice session. They've been practicing for a few hours actually, some of them will have been, prior to qualifying. And we are seeing the first set of laps that are about to be put on the board. We're not seeing where they are around the circuit on the map counter, but we can roughly say whereabouts they are. I think they're on that back straight before the UK.
Yeah, they want to run down between 7 and 10. We can count. We've got 8 and 9 kink in the middle of that. Not really corners whatsoever, to be fair, but we do know that the Americans do love numbering their circuits in wonderful ways. So 8 and 9, and then we go into 10, 11, well, 10A, 10B, and 11 and 12. So, well, this is turn 12 now. I think this is going to be the interesting thing here. There's a lot of speed picked up coming out of that 10A and 10B. They can literally full throttle of the car. If they're alongside by the time they get down into this tricky turn 1, Tom, how are they going to cope with people on the outside? You can see the times just started coming in. It's quite a 1 minute 35 of a lap here, and Pete Newman has got the front spot at the moment. But where do we think that these guys are going to have to be mighty careful? We've obviously mentioned 5. We can get down to 10A and 10B with the draft, but is there anywhere else you think that might be causing a little bit of a problem?
Well, obviously you mentioned the S's, that just getting through there is a challenge in itself. You're probably looking at where they're just going through now. This is what is classed as turn 6, and I think down into the chicane of turns 11 and 12, that's probably the places where they're going to get overtakes on, and maybe turn 1. So there's enough chances we can get overtakes completed, but it's just a matter of keeping it clean all the way through. And judging by the corners turn numbers, from what I'm seeing, it feels like there's more than 13 corners. Actually, it feels like more like 16 or 17. Either way, they've got a lot of challenges facing. It's perhaps no wonder we're racing on the full layout and not on the club circuit as initially intended.
Yeah, I think a lot of things are different in regards to track numbers. I know this circuit is a 12-corner track, and that's about it, because obviously once you've gone through 1, which is where they're at the moment, PDG is not on there, however. He's turned it into a bit of a lawnmower and still running down the side of the circuit. But if you have a look and sort of do a lap here with Jamie Ayres, we've gone through turn 1, we're going to go left for turn 2 now, and then we're going to come down through turn 3, which is this right-hander. And this is the long sweeping S's. This is classed basically as one continual turn 4 all the way through this. Turn 5's at the base of the hill, which is the left-hander with the curb on the outside, which is going to be a little bit of a problem if they don't, well, probably don't take that much, but as you can see, he's still carrying mighty amounts of speed. So we've gone through turn 5, then we got the right-hander of turn 6. Again, they're going to be looking for that inside dip. There's a dip just about there. Put your tyres in there and it'll help with the rotation. Same with turn 7, the right-hander. Now we've got this run down. Now this is where the numbers go a little bit awry, because most people don't class this as a turn, the one we're on now, but unfortunately it is numbered as turn 8, which I suppose on a motorbike it might actually feel like a turn, but in these little MX5s it certainly does not. And then you've got the right-hander coming over the hill, which again is numbered as turn 9. Again, is it really a corner? Well, we'll leave that open for the debate in the YouTube chat. Then you've got turn 10A, which is the left-hander, turn 10B, which is the right-hander and the exit. exit and then under the bridge for turn 11, and then you've got the final corner as turn 12. Now that is what a logical kind of point of view would be, but I think a lot of the times there, Tom, it really does depend on what track map you're looking at, depending on which numbers they've called them.
Yeah, well, they'll have numbered them in their own ways, just as long as they tackle them and not sending it up the inside into corners where the overtakes are not going to be done, but they still do it anyway. I think we could be in for a relatively clean amount of action during the course of 4 races. We've got 15 minutes for each one of them. The qualifying session here will determine the grid for race number 1. And then for race 2, as far as I know, James, is top 10 reverse for that on the race 1 result. And then for race 3, it's randomised, and race 4 is a reverse grid, of which we don't know how many of the top runners are going to be reversed for that.
Yeah, well, as I say, round 4 we'll find out when we change over sessions. Round 4, heat number 3, we do know it is a complete random reverse. Pete Newman's sitting on pole and is going quicker again, but the draft is going to be mighty along here. Dan Hunt is in 3rd place, sitting just off the back of these, but again, I'm expecting these to go 2 or 3 wide down into this corner. I wouldn't be surprised if at any one point we see all 4 wide, because the draft is so strong. You can see just how strong Pete Newman has gone with the draft alongside Ralph Cullinan. Now, not necessarily I would be doing this in qualifying, Tom, because at the end of the day it would definitely not do you any favours.
No, you don't want to be tripping up over any drivers as they're coming towards the end of the lap. I mean, the only benefit you can get really is a draft from someone, which Pete Newman clearly is someone that's tried to make the most of that, and I don't think we're going to see an improvement in lap time on this occasion. He's gone purple in the first, well, in the second of the 4 sectors. They calculate in 4 sectors as opposed to 3 as normal. But Newman's going over the line. Is this an improvement on his previous time? My guess would be no, it isn't. So he remains 2 tenths clear over Pete Van Gool, who has done well so far. Dan Hunt likewise. Jamie Ayres, Ralph Cullen, Steve Hefford. Jamie Wilson's got some work to do though, but he's gone through the best of his times, so he'll have to make up places at the beginning. There are 14 races this evening, 7 in Pro, 7 in Am. Been nice to have seen a few more, but it is what it is. But we have seen some brilliant racing with low numbers, James, and it does tend to produce the best racing out of them all.
Yeah, it definitely does, and the slower cars, as Craig Jones would say, the slower cars is the best way for the best racing. Is what has been deemed to be correct, because I think some people see the slowest cars as the greater racing aspect of it, and Craig Jones will swear by the fact that slower cars produce better racing. Now that's open to somewhat interpretation, but I suppose if you looked at F1, sometimes you could probably understand why people say the slower cars the better the racing. Yeah,
we've seen it in like lower formulas as well. You know, even with GB3, sometimes GB4, they tend to produce the best racing, partly because of the way the car is designed in relation to following another car through corners. F1 had struggled with that over a long period of time. I mean, they're able to follow each other more with the ground effect cars that they've got now. The first time in over 4 decades they're running ground effect vehicles to what they had before. Formula 2 is slowly but surely following that with the new Dallara designed F224, and F3 will be introducing a new car for next year to sort of still be a Formula 3 type car, but sort of move more towards the realms of where F2 is at in relation to what I've just been saying, you know, following cars through corners and not getting caught out in the dirty air as much. So it's a positive signs to come in relation to those series. Formula 4 introduced a new Tatis machine for particular championships like Italian Formula 4. They introduced a new car. I think it was this year that they introduced it, or last year. It's one or the other. And you can see that they're trying to move towards closer racing. I mean, overtaking is one thing. We can see overtakes happening all the time, but we want to see wheel-to-wheel racing with battling all the way through, because that's part of what makes the show what it is. With this championship, with the Mazdas, they seem to do just that. All the cars are the same make, the Mazda MX5s, obviously, and it's now down to the driver ability. to see how well they can make the most out of the cars of what they got and just put on the show for the fans. And you don't need DRS, you don't need KERS or any of that nonsense. This is pure racing that you're seeing here.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's just all about driver's skill, driver's ability, and literally their way of being able to drive the car. These guys have been driving these cars for absolutely ages, and at the end of the day, they have done a great job doing it. I think this is the thing. They've always been driving these cars, and I don't see anything being any different on this one. So I think at the end of the day, it'd be a great job, and these guys will do an exceptional job in it. Now, obviously, the car releases that you spoke about, whether or not we're going to get them in iRacing and when, we generally get them about a year after they were actually released, if not sometimes further than that, especially with the likes of updated TCRs. We still haven't had anything like that come through, so I'm not entirely sure when we will get that. I know they've released the new Audi R8 Evo, and literally that was already been over a year old before we've even got that one through. So I think at the end of the day, we'll have to see how it all goes. And you know, for these guys, does there need to be a new MX5? No. Has anything changed from when they were released on the streets? No. Has anything changed from when they've been released in the racing? No. Could they work on the sounds? Maybe. But at the end of the day, these are great beginner cars, and ones that I feel don't need tweaking with if you don't need to. They did an update on them a few seasons ago, and they were, you know, taking a lot of getting used to because they were really loose. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about being able to muster the skill of driving, and these guys do it so well. And the likes of Colin Sampson in the AMS, Darren McLean, Roger Morton, Fiona Siddons, they all do it well. And I think this is what makes this series so special.
So if Jeremy Clarkson was in the Mazda MX-5 on iRacing, do you think he'd be able to compete with all this lot?
Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. I think he would probably be struggling to be able to compete with some of the rookie situations, to be honest. And that's just me personally. I think that as much as I love Jeremy, and he's outspoken, and he's, you know, all of this stuff that he does and says, and yes, he does stick his feet in it, you know, but don't we all at some point put our foot in it? Let's be real about it. I don't feel that he would be able to match some of these guys in the MX5. In fact, I don't feel we'll be able to match any of these guys in the MX5s. James May, maybe, but not Jeremy Clarkson, says Darryl Wright.
I mean, that's fair, but they do have their own bickering between each other about the way they drive. I mean, you know, perhaps the way James races, you know, maybe the way to, you know, race among these guys and just take it steady. Jamie Wilson just moved up to P7 on the timing pages with his last time lap. So at least he's away from the AMS. It saves him having to get through them at the start of the race. He can be amongst the pro drivers to come out on top, hopefully. I can't remember the last time Jamie Wilson won a race. It wasn't too long ago, but it feels like he may have just stagnated a little bit with his performances. Obviously, Dan Hunt's done well. Pete Van Gool, it's a long time since we've seen him take victory. Pete Newman has made too many mistakes this season with a lot of the instances he's been involved in. So he's in need of a clean session this evening.
Yeah, I've got no Jamie Wilson win up until Mosport, so unless it was in and around that. But let's bring you up the grid for race number one. Pete Newman is on pole with Pete Van Gool in second, then Dan Hunt in third and Jamie Ayres in fourth. Then you got Ralph Cullinan, Steve Hefford in fifth and sixth with Jamie Wilson in seventh. Charles Kellerman eighth, Colin Sanson ninth, Darren McLean in 10th, and Roger Morton and Fiona Siddons in 11th and 12th. Then bringing up the rear, Sir Alan Toon and Mr. Steve Hansford. So let's see what goes on, how these guys get on. Let's have your predictions. Who's going to win in YouTube chat? Who do you think, which pro and which am? Let's go with that one. Me personally, I think I'm going to go with Dan Hunt in the pros, and I'm going to probably go with Colin Sampson in the AMS. But let's see what goes on. Lights are going to be coming on very shortly. It's going to be a 5 light before we run, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ladies and gentlemen, round 9 is green here for the opening round of the Road Atlanta UK SimRacers series here as well. Heat 1, P. Newman got it off the line with PVG in second, Dan Hunt in third, Jamie Ayres alongside in fourth. They're going up through turn 1. You can see the leaders in front. It is Newman, Van Gogh, Hunt and Ayres running side by side. Steve Hefford's running side by side with Jamie Wilson as well. Surely they're not going to take that too wide. Through turn 2, they're not. Steve Hefford gets his nose in front. Everybody makes it down the hill. Now for the first time down through turn 4 is sweeping right, sweeping left, sweeping right and left again. Who's going to come out on top as they start going through turn 5? It is still Mr. Newman. No major incidents for anybody off the curb, but I can tell you one thing here, Pete Newman with PVG tucked in behind him, Tom.
Yeah, it was a very clean start from everyone, so well done for not coming together or making contact with another driver. But Pete Newman got onto a splendid start ahead of Van Gogh and Hunt, who have just maintained position behind. There's a lot of chances where they're going to take advantage of a draft here. We expect the draft to be effective around this course, and is Gould going for it on this occasion at this stage? He probably won't, but he's got to be wary of Dan Hunt. He'll be pouncing sooner rather than later. So you can see Gould is going for it now. Newman decides to let him go before they get to the chicane, and he is through at last, he scores. So he takes over leadership. Newman will be happy just to tuck in behind and just settle into this one.
Yeah, we've got Pete Newman and Charles Kellerman for Darrell White. Phil said nobody, and Craig Jones says results 1, 2 and 3. Well, I think you got more hope of winning the lottery on that one, Mr. Jones, unfortunately, because the highest result boy is Ralph Cullinan, and he is sitting down in 5th at the moment. And then you've got the Fiona Siddons, Alan Toons, Hansford and Tooney. Well, there goes Alan Toon, unfortunately. That was a big old bump from Steve Hansford, and unfortunately Alan Toon has gone round. But we're back up front with Ayres, with Van Gogh, with Newman, with Hunt, all in this top 4 fighting away here. Once again, on that run down into turn 6, Pete Newman looks at pulling out. Is it a game of cat and mouse, Tom? Is it a game of chess? Who wants to be in front on the last lap or going round turn 7 before they get the run down into the 10A and 10B?
Well, that's the £1 million question, isn't it? And you can see Newman, who is thinking about it. You can see all the line of cars just sort of waiting for their opportunity. I mean, I expect Ralph Cullinan to make his way through in 5th behind Ayres, whilst we see Newman deciding to make a move, although Hunt is getting in on the outside. It's 3 abreast by the look of it as they come down towards the chicane. And I would expect a change of leadership once again. Well, Gould is no longer the leader. Newman's back into the lead ahead of Hunt, who is still there. He'll have a better exit speed. Is this going to end sweetly here? There's a great chance that it won't do. But look at this. All the pro drivers going right at it, and this is only at the end of lap 2.
Yeah, 2B2 here. 3 wide, Ralph Cullinan and Steve Hefford in the same time here. And it's going to be Newman. And is Hunt going to let him have it? He isn't. Don't you dare tap him going round up the hill there, sir. Into turn 2 they go. Turn 3, they're still 2 abreast. Ralph Cullinan still 2 abreast. He managed to get in front of Steve Hefford here. But a big old battle on your screen now. Once more, PVG, 3rd place now. Don't forget, he was coming into turn 10A. He was going down from turn 7 in 1st. And he's ended up in 3rd. The draft is almighty strong, and at the moment, PVG's gone. Oh no, it's back on the racetrack. I think his internet's having a moment here. Come on, Pete, you need that full fibre optic.
Thankfully, we're still seeing there, although Newman's gone way too deep, out of shape, and he's off the track.
Oh, so is Colin Sanson behind him. He needs to stay in that draft. Pete Newman knows this. He needs to stay in the draft. What actually went on with Newman coming into turn 7? He goes into 6th. Did he just out? No, he broke on the grass. You brake on the grass and the car is not going to stop Mr. Newman, so he's got to try and go once more. But here we go, Dan Hunt, Pete Van Gaal, Jamie Ayres, they're going to be as they were for the first time here in literally 3 laps currently. And these guys have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 cars. Any one of these can make their way up here. This is why this is so exciting, because of the fact that this draft does play so much of an outcome on the result, because it's like Craig said, wait for the last lap, back straight, send it into the chicane, and that is what it's capable of here.
Yeah, so Hunt will need to get a move on here and pull away so he doesn't give too much of an advantage to the cars behind. Newman will get back in on this sooner rather than later, but he'll probably get back by the time they go to the back straight once more. But Hunt is happy to be where he is for now. The cars are just sort of staying in line, staying within a few tenths of each other, not going for it too soon. And yeah, you can just see Newman behind. He's making a move on Steve Hefford is making a move on. Oh no, that's Jamie Wilson getting through on Hefford. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong car. But Hefford is still in front of Newman there. Does Newman get the car zone? And he does. So we'll see how Newman recovers from this, because that was a poor error he made on the last lap, and he needs to make up for that here.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be overly worried. You know, he ain't Pete Newman, the Iceman, for no reason. He'll pick these off like a monkey picking fleas off his mum. He'll just do it one by one by one by one, and he'll start making his way forward, and I don't expect anything different. Up front, PVG is now looking to take the lead over Jamie Ayres. Hunt's going to try and go around the outside. Ayres is there. PVG's got the, they're going to be a little bit argy-burgy. 2v2. Here we go. 3 wide going through turn 11 now. Jamie Ayres has got that run on the inside. Ralph Cullinan, the Irishman's got nowhere to go. He's whiskey for breakfast as Ralph. Let's see what he can do here. Driving down that start finish straight into turn 1. Who's going to be able to get it? It is Jamie Ayres with Hunt. Cullinan is going to get second, is he, going up the hill? Wilson's going to get 4th with PVG down in 5th now. And that just goes to show how quickly it can swap around, Tom. It's just backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards.
Yeah, Pete Newman's been in the pits, James. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's obviously picked up an issue somewhere. I don't know if he's had a whack against the wall or whatever, but he's in the pits. Oh yeah, he's had an off. That explains it.
Oh, he's already in there. What did he do? That's Steve Hefford and Jamie Wilson. Goes around Hefford. Oh.
Hefford enough for him, did he?
I don't think he needed to. I don't believe Hefford was alongside at that moment in time. There either. No, you cannot call a tip of a bumper to a tip of a rear bumper alongside. I don't know. You've got to have a front to back wheel, or at least a crossover by some point. But there wasn't any cross on that one, Tom.
No, well, that's really bad luck there for Pete Newman. He needed a strong result to kickstart his evening. We've got 7 minutes to go. In regards to how many more laps we're going to have, I would say at most we've got 5 more laps. We're approaching the end of lap 5, so it'll be a 10-lap race to my calculation. So we'll see how this one plays out. Hopefully we'll get as many finishes as possible. We've seen a brilliant battle so far up front. We don't want it to end in tears. We want to see them fighting out all the way to the last lap, to the last corner. That move from Jamie Ayres on both Hunt and Gull was just simply sensational.
It was at the moment, yeah, as well. Jamie is still out in front now. He's coming through the left-hander, dropping down the hill through turn 4. Hunt is tucked in right behind him. Cullinan's behind that as well. Then Jamie Wilson and PVG with Roger Morton sitting in 6th place, the leader of the AMs. Charles Kellerman not giving him up, though. He doesn't want to let him go. Neither does Steve Hefford, as he's trying to interrupt the pack. And Darren McLean's in there at the same time. Fiona Siddons, well, I was going to say was having a battle with Colin Sanson. Unfortunately, Colin's just taken himself off the side of the circuit. But I'm expecting a big dose of Ralph Cullinan Irish draft as he goes on now from turn 7 onto this back straightaway on the run down into turn 10. When is he going to majorly catch it? He's starting to get it, but it's not coming down as much, and that could do with the fact that Dan Hunt has got the draft from Jamie Ayres. He's going to try and go round. He's not going to go round. How close did Cullinan get? He didn't get very close at all. Wilson's in there, tucked up right behind him. But this is where they all seem to be bunching up. This is the weirdest thing coming out of that chicane. There's just no momentum for them to be able to accelerate, Tom, and they all seem to bunch up together. And that could be why this whole front, what have we got, 7, is separated by only 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, Hunt on the inside. You saw how wide of a line he took into the last turn to gain all the momentum he needed to get through on airs into the race lead again. You just see the top 5, perhaps top 6 now. I mean, Roger Morton, the leader in the AM class, just keeping his nose out of trouble. He's got Steve Efford right behind. This could get very close, or too close for comfort here. But somehow they all seem to behave themselves. This is brilliant to see.
Yeah, through turn 5 they go. Hunt's now got the lead in his DOF reality, red and white bumper. Then we got Jamie Ayres with his red and black bumper. Wilson behind him in the white with green checkers. And then the multicoloured of white, red and green of Ralph Cullinan sitting in currently 4th place. I'm expecting these. I would bump draft these if I was Ralph. I wouldn't try and get Jamie Wilson. I would probably bump draft him down into the team in front, because at the end of the day they need to have their air disrupted, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is by pushing the guy in front. I think you start trying to battle with him, as I've just said that Ralph is, but also Jamie Ayres is as well, going side by side. Nope, thought better of it, but every time 3rd and 4th fight, they're going to lose more and more time to 1st and 2nd. So to me, like now, they've just lost 4 to 5 attempts and they're a second back going over 1 corner. It doesn't make sense to fight until you get near the end of the race.
Yeah, well, you can just see the gap between Hunt and Ayres to where Wilson and Cullinan are, and Ayres just going through, and Hunt not even fighting it, because he knows if they start fighting, they'll fall back into the pack there. Wilson and Cullinan still continuing to go hammer and tong through turn number 1, and I think Wilson is still in front of the Irishman. They're just going through the winding section of the first sector, and we've got 3 laps to go now in this race, I believe, and it looks like Ayres is in contention to win this one. I think it'll be either Ayres or Hunt that will take race number 1 victory. But who's going to be on the podium and who's going to come out on top in the AM class? Because Morton and Kellerman are at each other. Kellerman only half a second behind Morton, and there isn't long left in this first race.
Yeah, I think you could be right there, but we'll see what happens. I think the guys made the mistake behind him. They made that mistake behind him when they literally started fighting. I think Cullinan should have just pushed Wilson all the way in. There's going to be this one, possibly, there's going to be definitely one more, but we'll see whether or not that one more will be the final lap. Keep an eye on the timer. It needs to read 1:37 for this one to not be the final lap. So keep an eye on that left-hand side. It's 30 seconds around these corners. They should get this one. They're going to have one more, so another 2 laps here. And at the moment, Jamie Ayres is out in front with Dan Hunt. PVG's just made his way past Jamie Wilson again, scrapping for scraps almost. I don't see the point. Guys, push each other. You can go and cement your places here, I think, Thomas. These guys go up round turn 1, and Ralph Cullinan now looking at the inside going into turn 2. Is he going to be able to make it? He is. Did he get a PVG? No. But did he get 3rd place? Absolutely. But then again, I'm expecting that to swap again.
Yeah, and well, Hefford's got through on the AM drivers and he's got himself back into play with Wilson, Cullinan and Gall. So a podium finish is still possible for Hefford. Kellerman got through on Morton on the last lap to go up into the lead in AM. McLean isn't too far behind, so it'll be one of those 3 that will take the AM victory, I would have thought. You can see Morton on the inside of Kellerman into the right-hander there, but Kellerman held his nerve and remains in front, but he just needs to stay within the draft of the pro drivers to help maintain his position as the AM leader. But go back to the front in pro, Hunt into the slipstream of Ayres as they approach the chicane. A long way down. It's quite an undulating part of the racetrack as they head towards what is a left and a right, and it doesn't look like Hunt is going for it on this occasion. He knows there's going to be one more lap to endure before he decides to make his move.
Yeah, Wilson cleared Cullinan, Morton cleared Kellerman. So the battles are not done just yet here with these four, but anything can happen in this time, of course, that we are looking at them, and a lot generally does, as we're on third right the way through to ninth. They are not very far apart whatsoever. In fact, they're literally, all of them are only 4.6 seconds away from first place, but from Van Gaal down to Darren McLean is barely 2 seconds. So it just goes to show how tight it is there. You can see them behind in the background, nose to literal tail. I'm expecting Dan Hunt to be making this move now. He's not going to make it down 5. He won't make it 6 or 7, but he will have a good go down from 10A all the way down down from 7 all the way into 10A, and I'll be very surprised if he doesn't.
Well, it'll be one of these two taking the victory. Will it be Ayres or will it be Hunt? You can see coming out of what is classed as turn 8, and they'll be going through the kink now of 9, turn 11, turn 10 and 11, the chicane, and then 12 and 13 they'll be heading through for the last time in this race. The clock has already reached 0. Hunt going for it then on Ayres on the back straight there. I don't think Ayres has got a leg to stand on unless he decides to tuck in and stay in the draft, or actually send one up the inside into the chicane, but Hunt has got more than a car's length in front to turn in, and that should be race win sealed and done for Dan Hunt.
Dan Hunt's coming through turn 12 now. He is going to wrap up the victory in the pros. Great job from him. Darren McLean has taken the victory in the AMs. We'll have a look back. Roger Morton just lost a shoulder barge battle with Charles Kellerman. He comes over the line. Wilson was in there. He finished in 4th ahead of Cullinan. I want to have a look and see, did Darren get both of these going down into turn 10A and 10B? He didn't. Oh, they got wrapped up with each other. Kellerman and Morton just got wrapped up with each other, and Darren McLean said, "Thank you very much, I'm having a piece of this," and he comes through and takes the victory. A great move from Darren McLean there, Tom, really wrapping that victory up from where he was. It clearly wasn't expected.
No, and that was a through goes Hamilton moment, wasn't it? Except that it was on the last lap where he got that overtake done. That's how you're going to do it. And, if you see two drivers battling ahead of you, that's where you take advantage. We've seen it twice or 3 times during the course of those 15 minutes, where a driver sort of take advantage of 2 up ahead, having their own battle, and then just saying, "Yep, thank you very much. I'll take those 2 places of you and the victory." We'll have a look at the result then for the first race of tonight. Dan Hunt went in ahead of Jamie Ayres, and it's Pete Van Gaal in 3rd place, wrapping up the podium. Jamie Wilson 4th, Ralph Cullinan in 5th, and Steve Hefford in 6th. Darren McLean snatching the AM victory away from Charles Kellerman and Roger Morton, who complete the podium in class. Fiona Siddons, Colin Stenson, and Steve Hunter were the rest of those to finish. Pete Newman and Sir Alan Toon did not finish the race.
No, they did not. Both men, unfortunately, ended up being out on that one, but we've got about 4 minutes of warm-up. Let's see if we've got anybody to come and have a little bit of a chinny wag in the booth with us here as well. Nobody seems to have wanted to jump down this evening. I wonder if I can pull... I don't really like pulling people without their knowledge, otherwise they get a little bit mad. So we'll leave away from that one. But don't forget, guys, if you want to get involved in this great racing league, you can. All the links down in the description below. And that would be absolutely amazing if you want to come along and get that. Surprised Ayres wanted the inside line. You are right, because he would have got more of an exit coming off the outside. So I do agree with you on that one. But then again, it's a chance of running side by side. Ralph will be distracted by a rainbow or leprechaun in a minute, where he wasn't, Darryl, and he finished 3rd overall. So big shout out to Ralph Cullinan there for doing that one. PVG, yes, mate, you did very, very well, young sir. So well done to you. It just goes to show how strong the draft is, though, because Pete at one point was... how did I end up with Jamie Cullinan in 3rd there? Ralph Cullinan. Pete at one point was leading Tom and then went down to 3rd, and he went a little bit further down, and then he managed to recover back up to 3rd again.
Yeah, and it's a lottery, this one. Providing you don't tangle with anyone during the course of that one, you've always got a chance of snatching something positive from that race. Pete Vangal got a podium finish, but I'm sure a race win will be what he'll want to be going for. But now we've got race 2 coming up with the top 10 reversed. And I believe, is it Fiona Siddons that is on reverse? Yeah, it is Fiona Siddons. He'll be on reverse grid pole for race number 2. So that should be exciting. We've seen her start on reverse grid pole or randomized grid pole on a number of occasions. I don't know how much she'll be fancying her chances in trying to go for an AM victory, because we haven't seen that from her yet in the summer campaign.
No, but I think time will tell, right? Everybody has their moments. They have, there's been McLean, there's been Sanson, there's been Morton, there's been Ricks, there's been Kellerman. They've all wrapped up wins. Even Darrell Wright, surprise, surprise, has even had a win here as well. So I'm not saying never say never for Fiona Siddons, but it's been tough with Ollie Ricks dominating all 4 races some nights. You know what I mean? It's not been easy. That's 3 times you've agreed with me tonight. No way, Craig Jones. You've got no proof. Can't even take it to a court of law. I'm sure they'll tell you you were wrong. There was no way I agreed with you 3 times in one go. How rude, James. What am I rude for, Darrell? You did get a victory. I don't know what he means. Right. 1 minute left to warm up. Fiona Siddons on pole position. So let's see how she gets on. Listen back. See, we do get on. No, you're all wrong, Mr. Jones. You're all wrong. What do we reckon in race number 2? What do you think's going to happen?
I think we'll get a repeat of race 1, but I expect to see different winners in both Pro and Am, given what we saw, where we had 5, 6, and even at one point we had all 7 Pro drivers sort of line astir. So it really could be any of them. I think obviously with the reverse grid as it is, there's going to be drivers getting in the way, drivers are going to be out of position. It's going to come down to who's going to get out in front and pull out a buffer, because that's the whole point of these reverse grids, is that the drivers who finish top in the first race are going to be the ones to sort of be focusing on and how quickly they can make their way through the AMs and start pulling away. So thinking of it, the beginning of race 2 is going to be different, but I think after 2 or 3 laps I expect the field to sort of be nose to tail and start seeing the sort of bomb draft battles that we saw in the in race 1.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Being surprised I have won a race. Well, it's been hard, Darrell. That's what I meant with Ollie Ricks being as fast as he is. God, you lot are so touchy. Talk about taking things the wrong way. Darrell, right, come on, dear sir. Right, let's bring you up the grid for race number 2 from this evening. Fiona Siddons will be on pole, then Roger Morton, Charles Kellerman, Darren McLean. Then we've got Steve Pepper, Ralph Cullen and Jamie Wilson, PVG, Jamie Ayres, Dan Hunt, Colin Sanson, Steve Hansford behind that. Then Pete Newman and Sir Alan Toon. I read that so quick because they are already on the line, ready to go. The lights are going to be coming on right now, in fact. And ladies and gentlemen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are green for the second time this evening, with 2 more still to come. And it is Fiona Siddons who's got away off the line. It is Roger Morton who's also got away. Charles Kellerman, Darren McLean, the 4 Rams leading the way over Steve Everett, Ralph Cullen, and then the pros coming right behind him. But I can tell you one thing, Fiona Siddons got an absolutely rocket start there, Tom. Got it off the line and goes into turn 3 in the lead.
Yep, hopefully we'll see her in the lead for the first half of the lap before we start seeing drivers making their moves on that back straight. But yeah, it's a fantastic start from Siddons. Nice to see her get away. And yeah, I think she's going to make a battle of it, of those behind. Steve Everett is ahead of all those in Pro so far, but we expect that to change in a few moments. Kellerman and McLean at it. You know, McLean, who won the AM class in race 1, determined to make his way through.
They've checked up.
Take another AM victory.
Oh, sorry, Tom, they literally checked up, and you can see the rushing onslaught of the people behind coming in from Darren McLean. I'm surprised they all made it through. There was a little bit of contact on McLean's rear end, but I can tell you one thing, I would not check up with a crowd of cars coming right this, but now Charles Kellerman's in there. He's now gone, I'm going 3 wide. I want this lead, he says, going down into 10A and 10B, and all the AM's going to make it through cleanly. No! He's coming back on! He's coming back on! Oh, Roger Morton was tapped, he slid, he saw, he came, and he was on the grass, Tom.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there. We want to get another replay of that to see how that kicked off. But Kellerman is in the lead now, ahead of Siddons. When we're looking at Jamie Wilson is ahead of Steve Hefford now, the leader of the pro drivers. And you can just see Siddons just trying to settle into a rhythm there, but she's going to have the pro drivers all over the back of her. This is where things can get messy.
Yeah, Jamie Wilson, another tap. Oh, and Dan Hunt's done the same thing. They're going to get a mighty slowdown coming out of that corner. I can tell you that much. And that was just another little tap on the side with Fiona Siddons involved. Siddons there, he's got Ralph Cullinan now. Steve Hefford has got past her once again. It's very difficult to look at replays when you've got such great racing going on. So do you know what? At the moment, we ain't going to show you any because it's just too much happening on board with Jamie Ayres now. And he's trying to go up with PVG. I believe that's the Irishman of Ralph Cullinan coming alongside us. It is here. How is this one going to work out? There's a lot of argy-bargy going on here. Shoulder blocks coming out of people, slight little dinks, and at the moment, Charles Kellerman's leading the overall by 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, and you can't blame Siddons for fighting there. You know, she's fighting for position after all, and we're looking at as Cullinan and Newman, who is determined to get back into the fray here. Siddons letting Hefford go, he's letting Gull and Ayres go through now, which won't bother her too much. But now she's got to be wary of Newman and Cullinan. Newman right round the outside there, that should be move completed for him. Cullinan going through on the inside as well, and behind Cullinan is Colin Sanson, who is in the draft there of Cullinan. Is he on the inside there? That's not actually the optimal line to take into turn 1, and that explains why Siddons was able to maintain her place ahead of him.
Yeah, Darren McLean's in the back. That's Wilson there. Through turn 3 they go. Wilson's made another mistake. McLean's going to be side by side. Don't forget Darren McLean, winner of the AMs in race 1, gets the job done. It moves him up into 4th. He's got a bit of a climb to Colin Sanson, and then behind that is just that sweeping group of cars of Darrell Wright all the way there. Hefford, Gall, Ayres, Cullinan, Newman, Cullinan, Siddons, Hunt, Sanson, all in the mix. Hunt's trying to go up the inside of turn 6 of Fiona Siddons. The purple Robles do end up taking a trip across the grass, and now does lose that position, Dan Hunt, but is she going to lose that second place overall to Colin Sanson currently at this moment as well? Sanson's got to be in prime position. He has to be. Steve Hefford's caught up with Charles Kellerman. No, Charles, no! As unfortunately he's going to be coming under attack by Mr. Steve Hefford, and Steve's going to be able to get through. Can Charles come back at him going into turn 10? I don't think he's going to be able to this time around, Tom. And Steve Hefford takes the lead of the race.
Yeah, he's through, no problem there. That should be the opportunity for him to pull away from Pete Van Gool, who's up the inside into the last turn here on Kellerman, and he is through. Now it's a matter of time before Newman takes advantage of the open door to find his way past Kellerman on the inside. We're now looking at Hefford, Gould, the nose to tail. That's how quickly they can catch up in such a short space of time there between Hefford and Gould. Newman making his way through past Kellerman, as Cullinan, Hunt and Wilson will be making their way through sooner rather than later. Wilson's got a bit of a gap behind Hunt at the moment, so he's got some work to do. Siddons is in the pits now. She's obviously come to blows with someone. That's a huge shame, because we wanted to have seen her in the fight for an AM podium at least.
Yeah, her and Colin Sanson by the looks of it. Oh, Colin's got in smokingly hot.
Oh, yeah.
That front, that wheel's broke. It's got a broken wheel on that car, unfortunately, for Fiona Siddons. Steve Pepper's tucked in behind Pete Newman. Ralph Cullinan has got Dan Hunt alongside. Kellerman just lock in. You are so far ahead in the AMs. You're going to take an AM victory here from Charles Kellerman. Is he going to get any more? How brave does he want to be? That's going to be the question here. Does he want to go for the win? Is he just going to be content holding on? Come on, Giles, go for it, son. Why not? Let's have a little bit of racing here and see how far he can get, because to be fair, he led for quite a while. I was going to say half the race, but we're not quite yet at half the race there for Charles Kellerman. But I suppose when he looks at the bigger picture, he's got Darren McLean, literally 10 seconds behind him. There's Darren in the background. So for Charles, does he really need to be doing this as Pete Newman's going for the lead?
Well, Pete Newman's gone from the back of the grid to the race lead now. That's how quickly it can change. And they were dicing into turn one, him and Pete Van Gogh, and Steve Hefford and Jamie Ayres at it as well. Dan Hunt in the fray, and it's a matter of time before Ralph Cullinan makes his way past Kellerman, so he can get onto the rear of the other pro drivers. Just one retirement so far, with Fiona Siddons already out of the race. Any one of these pros can win now, it's safe to say.
I agree. I think anybody in, well, I'm still not counting out this man. I still think he's got a shot if he can latch on to some of the draft and get pulled along here, because I think that would be absolutely amazing for him. But I think overall it could be any one of these front five that have got that opportunity. Can Pete Newman hang on for this lap? Coming down the back straight, PBG on his way now, with Steve Hefford on his way there as well. Hunt and Ayres side by side. They don't really want to be doing that. We saw how it didn't quite work out for the guys who did it in the last race. I think that was PVG and Ralph Cullinan, and they dropped further back. They want to try and get up to them at least here, as Jamie Ayres looks like he's going to run on the inside of Dan Hunt coming down the hill, down through turn 12. Ayres has got the inside. He's bounced the car. Can he hold the car? He can hold the car. Now they're going to be running side by side into turn one. Jamie Ayres on the left, Hunt in the red and white behind him. Settles in now, does Jamie Ayres. Doesn't quite get the run, and Dan Hunt manages to hold on to position. But again, them guys racing, Tom, they've lost a second to the guys in front.
Yeah, so they need to stop battling and start closing in on the cars ahead. Although they're going to have battles of their own, which will help them, but they've got to stop dicing between each other, otherwise they're going to lose ground. Kellerman's still leader in AM, McLean second, and Sanson third.
Yep.
And Pete Van Gogh is going for it round the outside now of Pete Newman into, I think, what is classed as turn 7, but there's no way through for him there. And Newman, tap there from Steve Hefford on. Yeah, that was very nearly Pete Van Gogh going round there, and he won't have been very happy with Hefford afterwards. And they're going up the back straight now through the kink and towards the chicane they'll be going through shortly.
Now coming up to 10A and 10B, PBG is locked in as close as he can possibly get to Pete Newman. But is he going to be looking at making a move out? No, but Dan Hunt clearly is looking to making a move round our outside here. Mirror to mirror, here we go. Let's see, Hunt's going to have the inside line. Hefford's going to run a little bit wide. That's going to slow his exit speed. He's still got Dan Hunt over there, right beside us at the moment, coming in through turn 12. He is alongside. Now Jamie Ayres is also wanting to get involved in a bit of the action here. Steve Hefford, Dan Hunt and Jamie Ayres. It looks like Hefford might just about be able to hold on. Going through turn 1, they're going to be neck and neck. Now it's a run into 2 and 3. The left-hander, Hefford and Hunt still side by side. Hunt's going to have the inside line. He gets the job done. Steve Hefford did manage to hold on, but how long for Dan Hunt? Hunt is looking racy. Ayres is looking racy, and that draft is playing a massive effect here.
Yeah, once again, Hunt staying in touch with Hefford, and that's allowed the top two to pull clear, both Newman and Gull. And we're seeing Cullinan going for it now on Kellerman. He's been stuck behind it for too long. He's got through on him now, but it took him too long to get the overtake completed. And now he can focus his attention on Ayres, Hunt and Hefford. I think the chances of victory for Cullinan are pretty much dashed now. His focus is to get a podium finish, provided he can actually start pulling away from Kellerman who's still there with him.
Yeah, Kellerman's tucked in. He's got Cullinan pushing him along, which is what they need to do. I don't like Cullinan and Kellerman together because it is a bit of a tongue twister. But I think you need to at times lock on to the people in front. And you are visually seeing why fighting does not do you any favors when you're trying to close in for the lead. Visually, this is it. They are giving you a direct demonstration. When we say to people, please don't fight, stay with him, they're giving you the reason why, Tom. They're showing you that fighting will absolutely jeopardize your run to the front, where PVG, Pete Newman, they're not really fighting. They haven't swapped positions for, at least 2-3 laps now, because they last changed on lap 5, and these guys are moving ahead by 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, cool, getting out of shape through the S's there. That's only going to encourage those behind and favour Newman, who might be able to pull away for a little bit, but it will only be temporary because we've seen how effective the draft has been throughout tonight so far. And are we going to see anyone going for it? You can just see the 3 behind them just leaving gaps for each other now, because they know that battling, as you rightly mentioned, is not going to help them catch the top 2. They need Gull and Newman to stop fighting.
They do. This is the thing. They're relying on Newman and Van Gaal as these guys go down the back line again, right? If Van Gaal's got any ounce of Dutch noddle, so he don't have to give his head a wobble, I would just sit in still behind Newman. Sit there. You have got at least 2 more laps. Don't do it. Don't do it. You are opening up from the guys behind. Now, Hunt and Ayres have finally, with Hefford in the mix, settled in. But Kellerman and Cullinan, they ain't got the picture. You know what I mean? And they still are fighting away here. So I think for these guys, don't do it, Pete. You are doing a stellar job tucked in behind Newman. He ain't a slouch. He ain't slow. Stay there as you're coming over the line now, going into turn 1, going up the hill now as well. Pete Newman and Pete Van Gaal are doing an absolutely stellar job, and just keep doing what you're doing. Pete's got this lap and 1 more. He's still got 2 more laps. There's no need to rush this. Why they're opening up half a second a lap on the guys behind.
Yeah, it's a while since we've seen either of these two take a victory. They will want to just keep it clean now from here on in. Hunt is in the battle for a podium position. It would be a miracle now, really, to see him come out on top again and make it 2 wins from 2. And Gull is tucking in behind there of Pete Newman, going into the double right-hander of turns 7 and 8. What we're going to see from Gull, well, he's got 1 more tour to get through after this lap, so perhaps this lap is not the lap to go for the overtake. I think with the buffer they've got now, they can afford to dice it a little bit.
Yeah, but I still would wait. There's no. This is where you sit and say, let's look at the bigger picture. Look at the 3 behind, right? Direct example. Oh, I am not sure what went on there, but at the moment I lost everyone. Let's stay off Steve Pepper for a minute. Those guys were fighting and they've lost even more time. Half a second just through that 1 little tire bit. Jamie Ayres is tightening up turn 12 every single lap. I don't know why anybody hasn't noticed this, because he's giving himself a heap of run on the inside and is tightening up every single time. Van Gaal and Newman still side by side, so a great job from them. Hunt, Ayres and Hefford, they're not getting the picture, but they are going for a battle now. Now maybe they've got to the point, Tom, where they're sitting there going, well, actually, I'm not going to get the win, so I might as well go for it. And that is exactly what they're doing, I suppose, from that perspective. But it's going to be here. This is the moment. This is the defining moment for PVG. If he ever wanted to get a win in race 2, this is it. Oh, Roger Morton.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Yeah, well, he's a lap down, so he thankfully does not get in the way of the leaders. And why should he? Because his teammate is in the race lead, and they are coming through turn number 8 for the last time. This is Pete Van Gaal's chance to take a victory here. He needs to be brave and pull out alongside. He's a little too far back there, isn't he?
No. Watch this. 2-8. 27, 26, 25, 24, 22, 21, 18. He's going to fly. He should be able to get alongside just as he comes over the crest of the hill. He is going to be able to do it there. There you go. They're going to be argy-bargy, giddly-wiggly, have a little bit of a battle. PBG's not going to lock it up. He's relied on Newman going in hot. Newman did go out. Now it's going to be the final run for PBG. Newman's made a mistake. Oh, he made a mistake. Coming out 10B. PBG, the Flying Dutchman. Go on, son. As he comes over the line, he wraps up that win. Newman made a mistake. What's happening further back? Is it going to be Dan Hunt? It is Dan Hunt over Jamie Ayres, but PBG, opportunist Tom, did exactly what I said. Newman made a mistake coming out of 10.
Yeah, he really pushed for that to happen, and thankfully it did happen. As you can just see, Pete Van Gool celebrating in style after taking his first win in a long time. Charles Hillman was able to hold on convincingly ahead of Darren McLean to take the AM win, so it's a well-deserved victory for him in that respect. But once again, we saw some brilliant dicing around the circuit there. We're just waiting for Sir Alan Toon to get over the line, and then we'll run down on the result for race 2 here at Road Atlanta. Morton already gone over the line a lap down anyway, but at least he's brought the car home and got some points. But what a race it was, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come in the last 2 before we wrap up for this evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we hope to... Yeah, have we got a race result for race number 2?
I'll read it through as we swap over into race number 2. PBG is your winner, with Pete Newman in second. Dan Hunt is your 1, 2, 3 in your pros. And you got Jamie Ayres, Steve Pefford, Charles Kellerman, the winner of the AMs. Go CK there. Ralph Cullen in 7th, Jamie Wilson 8th. Then you got Darren McLean 9th and Colin Sampson in 10th. They are the 1, 2, 3 in AMs. Steve Ansford, Sir Alan Toon, Roger Morton and Fiona Siddons. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back after this short break, and we will see you on the other side. Okay, guys, we are back here for race number 3, the complete random reverse for race 3. I can tell you it's the top 7 reverse for race 4, so be aware on the top 7 reverse for race 4. I'm still James Parfitt. I'm still joined by Tom Cairns here, who's still gonna be joining me for the last 2 races. We're gonna have a couple of minutes left of the warm-up session. Not many cars out on track at all, to be blatantly honest with you. Steve Hansford, Colin Sanson, Roger Morton and Steve Hefford are the only ones on the circuit. But thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells and do all that other fancy jazz. We are well on our way to climbing up to 2,500 subscribers on YouTube. So that would be absolutely amazing. Craig Jones, C, outside line wins. No, only because Pete Newman made a mistake, dear sir. That's the only reason why that situation came about. If he hadn't made the mistake, it would have been very, very tough for PBG to get through. But he'd done an absolutely stellar job. Took the win in race number 2. So we'll see how he gets on in race number 3. Tom, a very eventful evening of racing, and I think one that we can sit back safely enjoy and say moving on for the top 7 reverse for race 4. But first, we've got this race 3.
Yes, indeed. We are moments away from the start of race number 3. It's a randomised grid. We don't know who's going to be on pole yet for that, as obvious, but either way, we've got drivers out on circuit just want to get a few more miles underneath themselves, just so that they're not going into this next race as rusty. But that's pretty common anyway from what we've seen over the last number of weeks. No rain has hit the circuit yet throughout this evening. We had the situation last week at Brands Hatch where we had all 4 races done in the dry, whereas in each of the other races, or each of the other rounds we've had in the summer campaign of UkSimracers, we had at least one race where rain had affected everything. I don't know if that is going to come into play later on in either, well, in race 3. I think for race 3 we're expecting it to be dry, but I don't know for certain what race 4 is going to deliver. But throughout tonight, we've seen some dicing throughout the, through mostly pro, it has to be said, with potentially all 7 drivers in pro having a decent chance at it. What are the chances we're going to see repeats of that here?
Well, I think depending on what throws up at the random, I think, to be honest, that there's not a lot we can really deal with until we know what the random reverse and who's going to be on pole. I think depending on where the fast pros are is going to be dependent on what sort of racing we're going to get. We've just seen somebody go off in a completely opposite direction there. Not entirely sure who that was. Oh, that was Colin Sanson going off onto the short layout there as well. No, he made the mistake because he made the mistake because he went in too fast, Craig. God blimey, it's a good job you're not up in the booth with me. I can tell you that one. He made a mistake. He went in too hot, and that's why PVG managed to get the run as he did. But I think until we get the random reverse, I would probably sit back and hold on to my horses to tell us what sort of race we're going to get, because if the pros have got to come through the field, Tom, I think overall it could be very, very interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it'll depend on who will get out in front in the early stages, because it is a 10-lap race, so plenty of chances actually to get overtakes done on the straights, where the bump draft has unsurprisingly played into effect. And thankfully we saw someone win for the first time in a long time, Pete Van Gool in race 2. Dan Hunt won the first race. In race 1 for AMS, it was Darren McLean who snatched it from Kellerman and Morton. And then in race number 2, we had Kellerman coming out on top of that. So we've had different winners so far throughout the season, which is all the more great. One of the things I was thinking about, James, was the Amateur Championship. Now, Ollie Ricks, who came into this as the leader, is absent. And that's only going to allow Morton and someone else who's in the fight in that respective class, Darren McLean, to close in, with there being only 3 rounds left in Mugello, Oschersleben and Daytona.
Yeah, I didn't see why Ollie Ricks couldn't make this evening. There were 106 points going in. Obviously, it's not going to be that by the time this finishes. Right, let's get you up this grid because they do get on very, very quick for race number 3. So as soon as it changes over, Roger Morton will be on pole with Jamie Wilson and Steve Hefford on road 1 and 2 with Darren McLean there. 5th is Colin Sampson, Jamie Ayres. 7th, Newman. 8th is Kellerman. 9th for Bangle. 10th for Toon. 11th for Siddons. And 12th for Steve Hansford. And then behind that, you've got Ralph Cullinan and Dan Hunt. So you're going to have the likes of Dan Hunt coming through the field as an absolute wild banshee. Let's see what we can get out of this one. The lights are going to be coming on. There they go. They're already on. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ladies and gentlemen, race 3 is green, green, green. So let's see how he gets on here. So Roger Morton takes the whole shot with Jamie Wilson. Steve Pepper tucked in there. Darren McLean in the mix as well. Then you've got Colin Sampson, Jamie Ayres, Pete Newman, PVG. It is a mix of pro and AMs all over the place at the moment. A AM on the front. Then you've got 2 AMs in 4th and 5th with Steve Pepper and Jamie Wilson closing in up through turn 3 for the very first time. Roger Morton still manages to hold on here. Everybody, I think, made it through cleanly. No real dramas. Dan Hunt up 2 places already. And we've only got going here, but it is Roger Morton taking the whole shot. Oh, Newman's gone.
Morton, yeah, to a
Newman's in the wall. Oh, how did you end up there?
Is that Jamie Ayres who's come together with?
Oh, he just got a
no, he dropped it by himself.
Yeah, massive snap. Huge snap by Pete Newman and put himself into the wall.
So another victory goes begging there for Pete Newman. With Roger Morton, his teammate, in the clear, although Wilson and Hefford are going to be surrounding him, as is Darren McLean. Of course, is in the same class as Morton. As they head towards the chicane there, just see Hefford getting his nose in front there. That was almost contact between him and Morton, but they've kept it clean there. And they're heading towards the chicane for the first time in the lap. And I'm going to see some more of the dice that we've seen throughout tonight. It looks to be okay so far, but Morton, McLean and Sanson will be their own ding-dong battle.
Yeah, they're having a nice little ding-dong. Steve Evans broken away. Wilson's in there. Morton, McLean and Sampson. This is going to be the arm fight here. Morton, McLean, Sampson and Ayres. PVG a little bit further back. Then we've got Kellerman, Siddons and Hunt. There's the next mixture. Hunt trying to come through the field. Steve Hefford holding on here. Can he hold on for the lead? And if he can, for how long?
Well, Hefford's in the lead for now. Wilson tucking up behind. They've got a big gap actually over Ayres and Gull, who have got 3 more cars between them and the top 2. So this is a chance actually for Hefford and Wilson to just simply not battle and allow themselves to pull away from the rest. But there's a long race. Expect it to be 10 laps again, unless the rain decides to intervene later on. It's rare that we see rain hitting the circuit mid-race. But Hefford is able to hold his nerve and keep his position. I mean, he may decide to just let Wilson go, because if he just lets him go, at least they know that they're not going to be battling amongst themselves. You can just see how close Wilson is tucked up behind Hefford here. And when is he going to pull out here, do you reckon? I think he's that close. I think he may as well just pull alongside. But no, he's just nudged him forward. He's nudged him forward.
That's the right thing to do, because over that straight, they pulled out over a tenth and a little bit over the guys behind. It was, well, there's been a lot more than that, because now they're fighting Sampson, Morton and McLean. The 3 AMs banging argy-bargy, shoulder barging. Ayres is Bangor are going to try and come through on this somehow. Not entirely sure how they're going to get through this situation, because of the fact, obviously, they're battling away. Ayres is trying to go up the inside of Morton. Job done. He's now got Colin Sampson. Dan Hunt is up 6 places. He's nestling in 8th at the moment, and they're all very, very close here. But at the same time, while they're doing that, the guys at the front are slowly escaping. They're 2.25 seconds down the road, and Jamie Wilson doing the right thing. I would expect Wilson to kind of want to go for it, but at the same time, he's realised if he just sits there, he's in a better position.
Bangor riding the curves there. You can just see many times drivers using that runoff there. I don't know if track limits come into it, but Van Gogh running 4th in class has got what looks like Roger Morton ahead of him. Colin Sanson is the leader of AM, but Van Gogh will be determined to make his way through on those two and start going after the likes of Hefford, Wilson and Ayres. Newman's a long way behind this lot. We expect him to just remain down at the bottom end of Pro at the end of the race, unless he can come through the field very, very nicely and just do some overtaking practice, because this is effectively a test session for Newman now.
Yeah, Newman's just got to try and see if he can latch on to somebody to pull him forward. Hunt's on not on our inside there, the Dan Hunt. It was very, very close. He didn't quite make it through this time around, but you've got Hefford is now still in front of Wilson. Wilson's still pushing him along. Now Ayres is closing in. Now Sampson's closing in. Van Gogh and Mr. Morton with Hunt there, McLean there, Kellerman there. There's still a lot of cars close together. 9.5 minutes remaining. They're going to get another 6 laps in. Free wide, almost free wide going up to turn number 2. Van Gogh climbing all over Wilson. Ayres has got off the side of the circuit trying to push his way forward. He's lost a couple attempts to the guys in front going down through turn 4, the right left. Wilson's still tucked in there, still doing the right thing. Hefford takes a big old dose of curb and Wilson's still pushing him. So you know, a lot still to go on here and a lot of these guys still battling, but I think Wilson's just doing the right thing where these lot are squabbling.
Yeah. So if you know those are squabbling behind, at least do yourself a favour and don't battle yourselves, because the battle that you're having could be more significant than the battle that we are seeing here. And you can just see Ayres running wide ahead of Sanson. Pete Van Gogh, who has made his way through on Morton, is in 5th overall, but will be 4th overall once he gets by Sanson inevitably. You just see Morton pulling out there. I think that's just to not be in the battle with Dan Hunt, who's also making his way through. He's not quite in the fight just yet. There's still some time to go, so don't be at all surprised to see Hunt making his way through the field before this race is over. Newman's got through on Sir Alan Toombs, at least he's off position from falling down at the start. What about Hefford then? He's actually pulled out of, yeah, he's pulled clear of Wilson.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Wilson did this, and this is the reason why there is a gap. Jamie Wilson there coming into turn 6. Did he overcook it going into 7? He has, and that car has gone no for Wilson. Not too bad. He manages to hold on. Jamie Ayres did exactly the same thing. Went very, very wide there. Wilson's managing to get some of the gap back. It was 1.5 seconds. It's now 1.3 seconds to them, but unfortunately for Wilson, he's now dragging Ayres along with him. So now it's being caught up in a fight again that he doesn't really want to be caught up in.
Ayres looking to make a move, although Pete Van Gogh's trying to get through on Colin Sanson into turn 7. He's managed to do it in the end, by the looks of it. And now we are looking at a battle potentially for 2nd place between Jamie Wilson and Jamie Ayres, but they will want to be going after Hefford. So do they decide to work together?
No.
Or does Ayres think, no, I think Ayres will be just wanting to get through. I think Hefford's lead will dash in a lap or 2. So I think with the fact that Wilson's letting Ayres go now is perhaps the most sensible thing to do.
I think Jamie Ayres could have pushed Wilson along and still had the opportunity to catch up with Steve Hefford, because at the moment Ayres is now dragging along 5 cars with him, and every single car behind him, when they got onto a straight, will go quicker than what he is going. So for Ayres, it's a dangerous move, but I think one, if he is going to be able to utilise and catch up with Hefford, which they are doing at a rapid rate of knots now, it's like a, you know, the swarm of the bees behind you all coming over you, because they are literally going to be running right up behind Hefford. Well, I'd say very shortly, but I'm also going to say within about a corner.
Here we are then. I did say Hefford's lead was going to go in a lap or 2. You can just see how close they are. Oh, I think Van Gogh's gone for a spin. He has done. He's gone off the track.
Just waiting for it to come up. He's jumped directly back to the pit lane. Was it his own doing? That's going to be the question. We'll have a quick look just as they're getting on to the straightaway. PVG coming into... Oh, is this going to be the first victim of turn 5 by the looks of it? Nope, he was already loose on the way in, unfortunately, for PVG, and he's blown an engine, and that is game over for him. But now, Hefford, Ayres, Wilson, Hunt... Whoa!
Oh, no! Oh, don't go back into the path with another drive. Oh, he did very, very well there, Steve Hefford, but he's got damage to the car. And that's effectively his race run by the damage of it.
What?
Did Ayres come too close? To be fair, he was nudged by Wilson into Hefford. He was nudged by Wilson, so I don't blame Jamie Ayres on that one at all.
I don't blame Jamie Wilson either. He was just bump drafting along. But in the meantime, Hunt's gone and taken the lead now. Ayres is still in the race. Wilson's still in the race. They were bump drafting each other. And unfortunately, it led to Steve Hefford's demise. It was in front of the queue.
Dan Hunt dropped it, sorry.
Yeah, Hunt got a little bit loose. He has left the door open for Ayres now. And they're going side by side down through turn 4.
Yeah, that was unlike Dan Hunt there. That was a very rare mistake we see from him. But he's allowed Jamie Ayres through. Sorry to interrupt you there, James, but Dan Hunt very nearly dropped it through 1. I thought it was going to end up doing what Pete Newman did on the first lap.
Yeah, well, yeah, just didn't quite go that way. Hunt managed to hold on to it. Into turn 6 they go. Right-hander now. Hunt's still in there. Wilson's still in there. Morton's still in there. Morton getting himself involved, but he has got McLean right behind him, mind you, with Sanson and Kellerman. So it's 4 hams, 3 pros. Now let's see how this is going to work. Is Wilson going to push Morton, which would be the ideal thing for Roger Morton? He kind of would need that. He doesn't really want Jamie Wilson doing anything other than, well, practically what we're doing about now. We literally cannot get any closer than what we already are. You can see the difference that Wilson's bump drafted has made. He's got Morton right on top of Dan Hunt. Now through the left-hander of 10A, through the right-hander of 10B. Under the hill they go. Wilson's going to be looking at pulling out. He's going to tighten it up. Ayres can't take his favourite line and tighten it up because he's got to stay on the right-hand racing line. Now Jamie Wilson's used the curb. He's now going to have a run and a half at Dan Hunt here as well. Is he going to look at it going up the inside? Is he going to get both of them? There goes 1. There goes 2. Nearly. But we did get 2 with Roger Morton. We nearly had 3 with Jamie Ayres.
Yeah, that was very nearly 2 in 1 go there for Jamie Wilson, but he got Dan Hunt in the end. Jamie Ayres is still there, but the need to stop fighting behind, to stop Ayres pulling further clear. 3 laps to go in this race. It's game on for victory both in Pro and in Am, and you can just see it all in one picture.
Yeah, you literally can. You can just basically all say that they are all together here, and I think this is the thing. Nobody's really given up. Wilson is probably the main one who's looking at being a pusher, and he is... there was a swap somewhere. Darren McLean, Colin Sampson, Kellerman. But Wilson is the one pushing, and what he does is he extends the gap and he extends it forward on the cars behind. Now he locks in. You can see at the moment Hunt can't get close enough. It's 6.5. Now Wilson's pushing him along. He's going to back away in the corner, proper NASCAR style. There you go. It allows Jamie Ayres to get the car stopped and goes in behind him again. He's doing a great job at giving himself an opportunity while not racing as such with 2 laps to go and keeping that distance to the car behind, because Hunt's got no help. Hunt hasn't got Morton close enough, and while Wilson's doing this all the time, he's trying to extend the gap behind him, but he just, I think for Hunt, no, there he goes, back on. For Hunt's situation, he kind of needs help from Morton, but they've managed to catch up, and we're looking like we're going to have a 4-way fight for the lead, going to be over the next 2 laps.
Yeah, this could really depend. I mean, we could all of a sudden have an Am driver taking victory, given what we've seen so far. Depends how this battle between Ayres, Wilson and Hunt plays out. There seems to be a big gap now between Sanson in 5th and Kellerman in 6th place. Cullinan and McLean have dropped back as well. So it's still game on. Who is coming out on top here? Well, Hunt won the first race in Pro. Vengel won the second. He's obviously not going to win this one, is Vengel. So it could end up being either Jamie Wilson or Dan Hunt. We could have a third different winner in Pro in race 3.
Yeah, Wilson won race 3, funny enough, at Brands last time out as well. So for Wilson, he seems to be getting a bit between his teeth for race number 3 here. He's going to have one more lap. What's Hunt going to do? Is he going to use and think sensibly here, or is he going to try and have a go at Wilson? He's not having a go at the moment. Wilson's still bump drafting Jamie Ayres solidly along there, keeping it in to try and keep that gap and staying in second place. Morton is still tucked in there. The gap to Sanson has come down from a 1.1 down to 9/10. So Sanson's still within the chance as well. Barney's waving the white flag. It's all game on now. Wilson's now got to try and go up the inside. It looks like Ayres may have opened a door up there, but he's going to come back at him. Wilson should have the inside line going up the hill. Hunt's in there as well. Morton's in there as over the hill they go. Ayres has still got the lead. Wilson's still got just maybe second place, but don't do that now while you're opening up half a second to Jamie Ayres. You want to be with him going through 10A and 10B. Don't battle now, Tom. That's too early.
Yeah, well, they've just got to stay in single file here and actually stay in the draft with Jamie Ayres. And yeah, it's going to come down to this then. Has Jamie Ayres done enough to take victory here? He's had a lot of misfortune go his way this season. He has won some races as well. And this might help him a little bit as far as the championship is concerned in trying to close down Dan Hunt a little bit, although I think that is a foregone conclusion anyway with the gap that Hunt has over everyone else. It'll be nice for Jamie Ayres to come away with a victory here, although Jamie Wilson is getting the gap down all the time with the draft that he's using. It's coming down to 4/10. Now it's in the region of 3/10, and it'll shortly come down to the region of 2/10. Will he decide to go for it into turn number 10? We'll wait and see. Round the outside goes Jamie Wilson on Jamie Ayres. Ayres sees it, leaves him enough room. Wilson may be able to complete a switchback on the inside, but it looks like Ayres has got this one sewn up as they head towards the line now. You can just see Roger Morton on the inside, Dan Hunt, but it's Jamie Ayres who's going to take victory in race number 3 ahead of Jamie Wilson and Dan Hunt. Roger Morton, despite spinning over the line, has just won in the AM class there. Very well done to him, although it's been a bit of a collision behind, but the race is over anyway. Colin Sanson second in AM, with Charles Killerman completing the podium in that respective category. But it was quite a finish to the race there, James. It was sensational to watch.
Jamie Ayres there is your victor, with Jamie Wilson in behind, with Dan Hunt finishing in third. Roger Morton and Colin Sampson leading the pros. Ralph Cullinan in splitting them up there with Charles Kellerman. We're just waiting for the results. They are the official results coming up on your screen. As you see, Jamie Ayres is that winner with Jamie Wilson in second. Dan Hunt rounds out the podium here, 1, 2, 3. Roger Morton in the AMs with Colin Sampson there in fifth. Ralph Cullinan in sixth. Charles Kellerman takes third in the AMs there, so a great win for Roger Morton. First of the evening, and the second podium of the night actually there as well. Darren McLean in eighth, Fiona Siddons ninth, Steve Pefford, Pete Newman, Steve Hansford, Sir Alan Toon and PVG. And now top 7 reverse, that will put Charles Kellerman on pole position. So Charles is going to have a bit of a tough time being on pole position there, but a great race overall as well. Another fantastic ending, and it's not sort of shy of what we expect, really.
Well, the top 7 are reversed then. So Charles Kellerman will be on reverse grid pole. So
Yes.
there's another chance for him to get amongst in there with Ralph Cullen and then Colin Stanton and Roger Morton. So he's got an opportunity to win another class victory. Roger Morton picks up his first AM win of the night. So in the respective AMs and in pros, we've had 6 different winners effectively in the 3 races. I think it's unlikely we'll get 8 from 4 races, because you're probably going to need Jamie Wilson winning one, and someone like who's not won tonight. Well, I know obviously Fiona Sid and Sir Alan Toon, but it's unlikely going to be coming away with the AM victory, given the pace we've seen for them compared to others so far this campaign. you're probably looking at someone like, I'm just going through my list here.
Colin
Sandson's yet to
Sanson.
win one this Yeah.
Colin Sanson will be, I think, the person who will probably win if he was in that opportunist moment to win. We'll have a look and see where he is on the grid when we go in very, very shortly. Charles Kellerman got the reversed grid pole. Now, I to be honest, I don't know if pole is an ideal situation to be in, because I'm pretty sure if we look back, I don't know if the people that got pole in each race has even won the races this evening. Roger Morton had pole in the last one and didn't win the overall. I'm trying to think back to race number 2, whether or not that was the same situation, and possibly race 1 as well. So maybe being in pole's not a good idea for some of these people.
Well, of course it's not, because you know, you're giving the draft away potentially to those on the opening few laps. But it doesn't make a great level of difference anyway, because if it's a 10-lap race with it being dry, I mean, if it's wet, it'll probably be 9. You know, you just don't really know what to do. I think if you're someone further behind, if you're like 5th or 6th or whatever in the early stages, that's actually a prime position to be in, because it gives you more ideas as to what to do. Whereas at the front, you have less ideas running through your mind in regards to which is the way to go about it. It's a bit like with pit stops, really, or going through attack mode in Formula E, where you sort of decide when you want to take attack mode and when you want the extra power. So that you're probably getting out of that sort of group where you don't want to be the leader of it all.
The trouble is with that attack mode is you have to go bleeding 25 metres to the left-hand side to get it offline, which then can lead you to be losing positions while you're trying to take attack mode, which then you've got to try and get back. And as we know, in Formula E and generally street circuits or man-made circuits, there ain't always a lot of room to be making them overtakes. So sometimes I think attack mode is more of a hindrance than it is a help at times, because there ain't always a space on Formula E to be making them overtakes, especially when they're sticking them on a man-made London circuit.
Absolutely so, and with the current gen that they've got now, which, you know, does add more prominence to energy management, because energy management is the key thing to go about in Formula E. I mean, obviously with these Master MX5s, that doesn't necessarily come into play. These are proper machines that you want to be racing in, but it tells you about how advanced the technology is with where Formula E has come from 10 years ago when it first started. I mean, even before they started racing in Beijing, in the 2 years prior, when they sort of introduced the concept of a Formula E car, the Gen 1 as it was, everyone laughed at it. I mean, even Lucas di Grassi pointed that out. A lot of people didn't really back the idea, but you look at where it is now with the Gen 3, they'll be introducing the Gen 4 not too far away either. Formula E has a bright future. There's no question about it. But we're going a little bit off topic, really, with what we're here to discuss. But we're just trying to find things to discuss whilst we're waiting for the race 4 grid to come up. Are we ready, James?
We are. Let's bring you up the grid for race number 4. Again, they get on very, very quickly. Charles Kellerman on pole, Ralph Cullinan, Colin Sanson and Roger Morton. Then you've got Dan Hunt, Jamie Wilson, Jamie Ayres, Darren McLeans, Fiona Siddon, Steve Hefford, Pete Newman and Steve Hansford. Then behind that, Sir Alan Toon and Mr. PVG. But Charles Kellerman is on pole. How's he going to handle being on pole this time around? Here we go. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Race 4 is green, 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 and Fiona Siddons has not gone anywhere. She's still cemented there. Now tries to get off the line, but at the same time, Ralph Cullinan has got a flying start over Kellerman. Kellerman and Cullinan with Sanson and Morton and also Hunt in the mix, but Cullinan takes the whole shot round turn 1. Can he manage to hold on here for Ralph all the way through? He can. Sanson got a jump over Kellerman as well. Kellerman's lost 2 positions here, Tom, and we've only got 3 corners.
Yeah, I think that's kind of expected anyway. Cullinan pulling clear. He needs to use his opportunity to pull away. He's only won 1 pro victory this season so far. He wants to add another one before the summer campaign is over. But Cullinan leads ahead of Sanson. It's Kellerman, Hunt, Ayres, Wilson and Morton who's the second highest out of all those, or third highest, I should say, out of the AM drivers. But that is all set to change in due course. Cullinan still clear of Sanson, but Sanson will still fancy the draft. That could give him the buffer he needs over Kellerman, who wants to take an AM victory this evening.
Yeah. Oh, Steve Evans gone. Steve Evans he's gone into the upside down. He's gone for an audition in Stranger Things, did Steve Evans. I'm not entirely sure how he managed to get off there, but he has. Pete Van Gaal has also been off the side of the circuit as well and has jumped back to the pits. And this is how Pete managed to do his the first time. Did he get all loose coming into turn? Oh, there was a knock and contact there. Unfortunately, it looks like Pete Van Gaal had no steering straight into a wall. These guys were close together. Dan Hunt, Colin Sanson, Ralph Cullinan, Charles Kellerman in there. Ralph is down in third place. Kellerman, the pole man, as we said. Does it benefit being on pole? Well, at the moment, he's in fifth. He's got a long way to go. Now Wilson's coming alongside. Ayres is having a go at the same time. Wilson's tucked in there. It's all getting very, very tight in this middle pack. Pete Newman, can he have a race? Can he just have one good race when Newman finishes the race? That would be absolutely amazing for Pete Newman, and whether or not he does finish, well, we're going to keep an eye on him here, but at the moment it's Hunt, Colin Sanson from the AMs with Ralph Cullinan and Jamie Ayres. So we've seen what's happened to Pete Van Gaal. Let's see what happened to Steve Evans here. Oh, well, that was the first contact, and then he's got in way too hot.
Well, no, because the steering was already broken from the contacts he had, so it's similar to what Gould had at the corner before. So very unfortunate for both Steve Hevered and Pete Van Gaal, already out of the race before the first lap is even done.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, there we are. Van Gaal's out, Hevered's in the pits, so we'll see if he gets back out racing. Newman's being pushed by Wilson. We know Wilson loves doing this, and he must be a driver of NASCAR because he is literally cementing his nose right onto the back of Pete Newman's machine, pushing him along, gaining time on the front guys solidly. Now coming into Kellerman here, and Wilson backs away, allows Newman to take his braking point and starts moving his way forward. But at the moment, Dan Hunt has opened up a lead, but he's only got 2.8 seconds across the field here for the whole of the top 8. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, we've just seen Jamie Ayres making a move on Ralph Cullinan now. This is for second in class, nearly banging wheels through turn number 1 there. Both Ayres and Cullinan looking to keep going there. Someone's run wide though. That's Pete Newman yet again.
Newman, unfortunately, whoa! It's gone round. How did he end up there? Well, he's gone around wide. He knew he'd got him far too hot. Roger Morton's coming round. Did he miss him? Yes. I believe he did, but in a very precarious way here. Watch this from Roger Morton. He spots Pete Newman going off. He spots him going sideways. Then he hits the brakes, literally stops the car and goes around Pete Newman. Great awareness for Roger Morton, but I can guarantee you Roger has probably just had the largest brown pants moment he ever needed to in that one, Tom.
Yeah, he won't be too pleased with that. It's almost like they two just refuse to leave each other alone, one way or another, really, given the shenanigans the pair of them have had this season. We saw it at Spa a couple of weeks ago, where one of them ran into each other and they took each other out in the spot then. But back to the leaders here, because, well, Hunt's a little bit too far in front, but the battle for second place is raging on. Ayres in front of Sanson, who's the AM leader, ahead of Cullinan, Kellerman and Wilson, who's determined to make it a second, well, get his first win of the night. You know, he's got some work to do, and given where Dan Hunt is in this race, he at this stage now, Wilson needs to start making his way through some of the cars ahead.
Yeah, I would just try and pick them off one by one down the straight. Run wide there. Colin Sanson has just lost the lead of the AMs, and he's lost it to Charles Kellerman, all because he went wide in turn 1. Now they go through turn 2. Down the hill they go. Sanson's got to stay off the back of Wilson, otherwise he's going to turn him. Now Wilson goes through the right-hander. Great job from managing to stay in front of Sanson, because Sanson was coming at quite a rapid rate of knots. Now that this speed difference around turn 5 really shows how fast Wilson is carrying that speed. But Cullinan now has got to close on to the back of Ayres if he can. If he can close back on, then he might have a bit of a chance of going for the win. If they could just push forward a little bit here, they just might be able to catch Dan Hunt.
Yeah, so we're beginning to see a few gaps form in between the field now, which is kind of inevitable. Jamie Ayres' focus is going to be on Dan Hunt in front, but we've seen before when drivers pull out a 1 second gap or a 2 second gap, or maybe even 3, we've seen time and time again how quickly that can reduce. And Jamie Ayres is like less than 8 tenths behind Hunt now. So sooner rather than later, he's going to be on the tail of him, probably next time around.
Yeah, I think it's going to be closing into him as much as he can. Kellerman there in the background has got Jamie Wilson's just gone underneath him. Sanson still chasing him down. Is Sanson going to make it 4 different winners in the arms of 4 different races? And who is going to catch Dan Hunt to stop him having a second race win of the evening? The only one that hasn't had a race win in the top 3 at the moment is the Irishman Ralph Cullinan. So can Cullinan get his way and have a go at these guys here, Tom, to try and get his first win of the evening? But he's got to latch onto them as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Just seen drivers running wide there. We haven't seen or heard like any pings of track limits through there, James. I don't know if you know anything to do with that. I would probably say they'll just leave that one alone because of the nature of the corner itself. But Dan Hunt is, well, the gap is just under 8 tenths, but don't be at all surprised to see Jamie Ayres get that down to probably like 4 tenths, no more than that. But you can see the gap is already down because Ayres had a much better exit. Further back, it looks like Colin Sanson has run into trouble. I don't know what happened with him. He had a very poor exit coming out of 8 there, and I think he's pulling to the side. He's had an issue.
Going into the right hand of turn 7, he's going to spin that car around over the curb. He's going to go. There you go. Loss of car. Oh, maybe a loss of everything now because he has just unfortunately pulled over. He's got going again. So not entirely sure what happened to Colin Sanson, but he is running once more. But he's got now Steve Hansford for pressure going down into turn 10A, the left-hander. So through goes Sanson and Kellerman. Now Hunt and Ayres, as we said, is going to be together. They are now together. Now Ralph Cullinan could do with a big old push from Mr. Wilson here to try and catch up with these guys, because at the moment Cullinan's gap's 1.1 of a second and he's only got about maybe 4 laps at the most.
You can see the gap is under 4 tenths now. We did say well, it was going to reduce. Ralph Cullinan determined to go for his second pro win of the season as he watches both Hunt and Ayres nose to tail. So he'll be happy to see these two fighting out by the looks of it. Although Hunt he was almost pulling to the side, wasn't he? He thought about maybe letting Ayres through, but Ayres sort of read into it, think, no way, I don't fancy it. I'm going to sit back and just go and try it next time around. But these two are playing mind games now. They don't want to be the leader. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the leader either. To be blatantly honest, I don't think with these long straightaways, I don't think I would want to be the leader at all, to be honest, as they're coming down now, because we've seen this multiple times already across the 3 races that these guys do end up swapping positions when by the time they get onto the final lap, or it's that final lap run out that we've seen multiple times. Ayres now pushing Hunt along. Hunt gets a little bit squirrely going into the braking zone, comes out of turn 10 the other side quite happily, through 11 under the bridge they go, now down through turn 12, and now Cullinan's gap's down to less than a second, so he's going to have 3 more laps to try and get that down further here for him. Tom, what do we think the chances of Cullinan being able to come and play at the party with the boys at the front?
Well, we haven't seen Cullinan in the fight that much this season, and I've not really seen Cullinan really getting stuck in the same way as how Hunt and Ayres have done. This is probably why I think Cullinan is that far down in the championship compared to where Hunt and Ayres are, is because, well, 1, he hasn't been consistent enough, and 2, he hasn't quite been able to get his elbows out like how Hunt, Ayres and perhaps Wilson have been this season. But hopefully he can get in on this fight, and he's got nothing to lose. He's not in the fight for the championship anyway. So you may as well just give it a really good go at it.
Yeah, see, I do wonder if him backing away slightly to get Wilson to catch up to him might be beneficial for him. You know, just give Wilson an option to try and get at least on the back of you. We know Wilson is great at pushing you along, and all the while he just can't seem to get the gap down to under a second. Whereas I reckon if he just give Wilson a chance to get hold of him and push him along, they might be able to work together to close that gap down. Hunt is on the not really on the defensive. Ayres didn't move. The gap came down that time, but I wonder if that's because of the uncertainty of Hunt coming through 10A and 10B, then why that they've ended up that close. But I do wonder for Cullinan if it's just worth maybe lifting a little bit, getting some help from the guy behind.
Yeah. Well, Jamie is just happy to sit back for the time being. I mean, any one of the four in Pro could come away with the win. Charles Kellerman 2 seconds clear over Darren McLean. Is Kellerman going to come away with 2 wins this evening? He came away, I think, did he come away with a win or 2 last week at Brands Hatch? I can't quite remember. But he seems to be on a good run of form, is Kellerman, from what we've seen from him tonight. So hats off to him. And this could also help in the AM Championship overall with Ollie Ricks not scoring any points this evening. That's going to open things up in the fight between him, Darren McLean, Roger Morton and Charles Kellerman.
Yeah, well, Kellerman got 2 wins at Brands last time out, race 2 and race 4. So, and he's already got one, funny enough, race 2. And if he wins again, it'll be race 4. So, fair play, Charles Kellerman. Seems to like race 2 and 4 here, taking the AMs. He's got a long way. He's got about... what's he got at the moment? Is it 1.3 seconds? He's still got plenty of space, but it depends if Morton latches onto the back of McLean and pushes him along into Kellerman, and then if that is the case, you will see Kellerman's gap come down at an absolute rapid rate of knots. So Morton's got a part to play now. He can either play the nice guy and stay there, push him along and follow him for what will be the penultimate lap. They're going to have one more, I believe, going over the line. They are. So Morton's got a choice now. Push McLean into Kellerman and go for the win. The same as what Jamie Ayres' situation is, and Wilson and Cullinan. Wilson's got a game to play, part to play as well in this chapter, as Ayres is now had enough and has gone up the inside of turn 1, and there's only this one and one more to go. And I think possibly that could have been a mistake from Jamie Ayres, unless he feels he's got the pace to pull away.
Yeah, well, this is a chance for Cullinan to prove that he can actually take the fight to the leaders here and get another victory for his record. Jamie Wilson also in the fight as well. There's 2 laps to go. Oh, we could just see Ayres missed the apex of turn number 6, I think it was, but was able to make the corner, thankfully. And now Cullinan is in a potentially bump draft situation where he could simply get through on both Ayres and Hunt in one big swoop.
Yeah, he can. This is his opportunity, whether or not he'd want to do it on this lap or whether or not he'd want to do it on the final one. But either way, it's set up for Ralph Cullinan to come and take this victory. I'm expecting that gap to Wilson to start opening up a little bit. It is not by much though, but Ralph's got a choice. Can he pluck up the Irish spirit and go for the victory? He's got nowhere to go. You've got nowhere to go there, Ralph. You need to make that move a lot earlier. Is he going to try and go around the outside? Are they going to muscle Ayres off though? Wilson, stay. They're going to be 2v2 going over turn 11. Cullinan, Ayres and Hunt are going to come over the line, and there's only going to be a fraction between them all. Here, once more, it's going to be a grand total of 7 tenths over the top 4. Coming over the line now as well. Ayres, Hunt, Cullinan, Wilson. We've still got the battle for the arms going on. Darren McLean, Roger Morton and Charles Kellerman all battling away. Morton's just cleared McLean. Kellerman is now trying to hold on. A little bit of argy-bargy between Roger Morton and Charles Kellerman. Morton's up on the side of the grass. That's going to give him McLean an opportunity going up through third. Oh my God, they're going to try. Oh, dear me. 2 was bad. 3 was absolutely horrendous. No, Charles Kellerman. Oh. Puff for him, Tom.
Oh, you have to feel for him. I mean, in all honesty, he did push Roger Morton out wide at turn 1. He just dropped it by himself in that corner. That's just really unlucky. If he could just get to the checkered flag now without any more dramas, then that'll be great for his championship. At least he's got some points there. But Rogermont on course for his second AM win of the night, which will see him close down the gap even more, if not into the lead of the AM championship. But now this is the focus point. Who's going to come out on top in the pros? You can just see Dan Hunt going for it now.
Yeah, Cullinan is in there as well, coming into 10A and 10B at the moment. Hunt has managed to take the lead. Ayres is going to be alongside. It's all set up nicely. If Ralph can get the run over both of them, he's going to possibly get the run over both of them. Is he going to get the run? He's not, I don't think. I think it's going to be Dan Hunt. Here's Cullinan going to steal that second place. Where's Wilson going to be? It is Hunt, it is Cullinan, it is Ayres. What's going on in the AMs? Morton. Oh, Pete Newman's ended up in there somehow as well. I'll have to have a look back and see how we got to that stage. But Roger Morton's going to come over, taking second victory in the AMs there, and poor Darren, I don't think Darren McLean's going to be unhappy with his second place, but I will say one thing, Colin Sanson has wrapped up third there as well, so great job from Cullinan, and then the pros from Sanson, and then Hunt, Cullinan and Ayres. So great job from them guys. We're just waiting for poor old Sir Alan Tooney, who looks like he's had a bit of a dramatic one, as old Tooney coming this time around through the final couple of corners. Another, let's be real about it, another great evening of racing provided by these guys as always.
Yeah, not too many incidents all the way through that. Great win there for Dan Hunt, snatching it from Jamie Ayres at the death. Cullinan did very well to take second place, so hats off to him for getting stuck in right in the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully we'll see more. Yeah, hopefully we'll see more of that in the coming rounds in Mugello, Oschersleben and Daytona. But it's time to run down on the final race result of this evening, James.
Yeah, it is. Here we go. Now, this is it. The final round done, or the final heat of this round is finished before we go into next week. Dan Hunt is the winner with Ralph Cullinan in second and Jamie Ayres in third. That's the 1, 2, 3. Then Jamie Wilson in fourth. Roger Morton taking his second victory of the evening with Pete Newman in sixth. Then you've got Darren McLean and Colin Sanson there rounding out the podium for the AM. Steve Hansford, Fiona Siddons, Charles Kellerman, Sir Alan Toon. Of course, we lost Steve Efford and Pete Van Gaal. That's the Momo boys going to be a bit light on points in race number 4. But I think, to be fair, there wouldn't be a surprise of this evening's racing. Because of the makeup on the track lends itself to this great racing, Tom, and that's what we've witnessed.
Well, I thought we would see, as soon as I saw the track layout, I thought, yeah, that back straight is going to be where the bump drafting is going to be happening and a lot of overtaking is going to be taking place, and I was right to believe that. So well done to everyone for keeping it clean pretty much throughout. And hopefully we'll get more of that in Mugello next week with that long straight, that start-finish straight we're going to have. I mean, it's inevitable we're going to see a lot happening there.
Yeah, I do think Mugello is going to be a very, very interesting one. But that's going to wrap it up for this evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are here, or you are watching it back live, or you are watching it back at all on pre-recorded, please like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That'd be great. If you're on a comment down below, that'd be fine. We'll respond to your comments as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for another evening of great racing for the UK SimRacers MX5. Join us on the JPB YouTube channel. We've got a lot more coming up this week as well, as we got the BSC from Chicagoland Speedway later on here for some NASCAR action, and the Radical Race Series returns on Thursday there at Road America, and then we've got the VWC 1964 Series on Saturday. OGRL for round 4 at Zandvoort on Sunday afternoon. Then we've got the Tanzo Racing Group GR86 round 6 from Laguna. IGP Super Formula Lights for round 9 in there as well, and we've also got the Triple Bypass Racing League on Thursday. So yeah, come and join us for all of this action, because we have got a lot coming up. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Tom Cairns here this evening, and as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.